Hello and welcome, my name is Colin Wood. I do van life in a Skoolie. Today I'm going to talk about the top 5 things that I hate about living in the Skoolie. So the first thing that I really don't enjoy about living in here is the fuel mileage. So for a vehicle this size, it's not too bad. I get about 15 miles per gallon. It's fairly similar to other van life vans, things like ProMasters and Ford Transits. I know tend to get maybe slightly better than this, but not a huge amount. But it does use a lot of fuel, so I have to really think and budget where I'm going. And it's not something that I really had to do with my car because my car is just efficient. It gets like 35 miles per gallon. I can go pretty much wherever I want, and it's not a huge percentage of the overall operating cost of that car. So the second thing that I don't like about the Skoolie is the maintenance. The maintenance actually isn't as expensive as I was expecting, and so far it's been relatively reliable. It's never left me stranded anyways. I hope that continues, but it is a large vehicle and all the components are larger, so any repair that I do to this vehicle, it often costs almost twice as much for the parts as my car does. Overall, the maintenance actually is a little bit less than my car, which is a little bit surprising, mostly because there's fewer components because it's an old vehicle. But still, this is about 25-year-old vehicle, and it does need work. I have to be constantly fixing things. I have to stay on top of my maintenance schedule, and I realize things are going to break. And it always is on my mind that when I'm out in the middle of nowhere, something could break, and it could leave me stranded, and I'll have to find a way to go call for help. And I also have to keep in mind that if I need a tow truck or something, I have to have enough in savings to do that. My insurance for this bus does cover tows and things like that, but I don't really want to rely on that. I know I've had to work with my insurance company in the past, and it's not that fun. So the third thing I don't like about living in the Skoolie is a lot of my friends' reaction to that. And this was kind of similar to when I was living in my car. A lot of people don't really understand why I'm doing this, but that's okay. I'm a lot more okay with that now than I was at first. And in general, it seems like living in the Skoolie is a lot more socially acceptable than it was living in my car. And I think part of that is just because it has been kind of glorified a lot on social media, so there's a lot of people who know at least what I'm doing, and they're totally cool with it. I haven't had as many odd interactions with park rangers, things like that. They know what I'm doing. It's not a big deal. It's not like my car where no one knew what I was doing. But still, there's a lot of people who don't understand what I'm doing and think I'm homeless. I've been called homeless many times, even though I'm not. I'm living in a space that's probably about as big as the room I had in my apartment, and I really enjoy it. I have everything I need: kitchen, bathroom, stuff to do work, a nice bed. What more do I need? So the fourth thing I don't like about living in the Skoolie is sometimes finding a place for the night isn't that much fun, especially in the off-season. There's only so many places to park and camp legally, and I really have to think ahead about where I'm going. Sometimes I get there and it doesn't work, like the park's closed just unexpectedly, or the road's closed, or the weather suddenly turns on me and I can't go up into the mountains like I had planned. And my backup plan is usually to stay at a state park, some sort of paid campground, which ends up costing me a lot more money, and it's often, like 40-50 miles in the wrong direction. This doesn't happen all that often, but it does occasionally happen. So it does make me a little bit uncomfortable sometimes, especially if I'm tired and I am doubting my plan of where I'm going to sleep. It does make me a little bit nervous that I'm just going to have to find some place on the side of the road. I know that there's always somewhere where I can park, but I just worry sometimes that I'm going to end up somewhere a little bit sketchy. The number 5 reason why I don't always like living in my Skoolie is the size. And I know I talked about how much I liked the size of the bus when I was talking about the things that I enjoy about living in the Skoolie. But sometimes that size can get in the way a little bit. It's definitely a lot better than larger RVs, but still, there's a lot of times where you go into a parking lot and I can normally fit in a just standard size parking space, but sometimes those aren't really available and I just have to leave. This usually happens at like grocery stores that are closer to cities. So I basically can't take the bus into places like Seattle or Everett if I want to do any grocery shopping, just because there's not enough room. I can't park anywhere, and parking in those places is bad enough in a car, but in the Skoolie, yeah, you just can't do it. So anyways, despite this list, I really love living in the Skoolie. I look forward to continuing this journey for some time. Eventually I will probably move on to a sailboat. That has been the goal all along, but I want to explore the inland part of the US first, and then we'll get back to the sailboat once I have more money again. In the meantime, I couldn't be happier that I have this space and I've made this work. So if you want to come with me on the journey, remember to subscribe, hit the bell icon, and leave me a comment down below. And I'll see you on the next video.